was thinking about, you see the seeking mind. We're always trying to seek, for pleasure.
Yeah.
And trying to escape and resist negative, energy or whatever thing that we don't like.
Yeah.
So what can we, what about that? What can we do about that? What is the ideal state of mind to be in relationship to that state of mind, and how can we get there from there?
Yeah. It's impossible, because the very activity to try and stop it is that very seeking. So this question can't ever really be answered. All they're pointing to is the freedom of what's happening, of this. Right here, right now, there's nothing and everything. There's silence and sound, there's stillness and movement. And that can be pointed to, but to say to you, you have to do this in order to get it, is living in a world of taking that seeking energy as somebody separate and somebody's choice to do something, and telling it can get somewhere, and living in that dream of that separate self, and it believing that it does something.
Would it be right for you if you say, then all you need to do is stop seeking the energy?
Well,
stop the seeking energy.
Who would be the one separate from that seeking energy that could stop it? This is the impossible koan, because that seeking energy is what gives the appearance of somebody being inside of the body. So only a fragment of that seeking energy could want to stop that seeking energy. Otherwise, who would it be that wants to stop it? A higher self, or a better self, or a more enlightened self? Is that possible, that there is still a self in there that's in control of the liberation process? But then the question is, so what am I doing on this? And basically, what the liberation is terrible for that separate entity, because it's not about that separate entity getting somewhere, it's the collapse of that separate entity that's looking for something else. But that's agonizing for the separate entity, because that separate entity only knows how to look and do things and get to places.
Yeah, I think even it's not even a problem of only knows, because I know what it's, I mean, I think I'm like the seeker, I'm a seeker in a way, but I know what it feels to be alive, and I know how it feels to feel in control and having this now moment. I know how that feels like, I do, notice that I prefer, I was trying to run away from negativity.
Yeah. Yeah, the me always is.
What?
The person always is trying to run away from negativity. It's set up to run towards pleasure and move away from negativity. And it's an impossible game, because this world is full of pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure, pain, pleasure. So it's an impossible game to get away from that pain. It can't be escaped, pain. Even the pain of that seeking energy that wants to go somewhere. But the question also of those other remarks that you meant is, who is it that knows all this stuff? I know it really feels like there's somebody in there that knows what control is, or knows what aliveness is, but can something ever know what aliveness is, or is there just aliveness? Who would know that? It feels like there's somebody there or something there that's registered and knows it, but is that just a thought? Could it be anything else but that? This is terrible, this message. It just destroys everything. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's so uncompassionate.
Okay. Because I also say, I would say, in my language, that I know how it feels like it to be nothing.
Yeah.
But then you say that there's nothing there to know how it feels.
It's not. Yeah.
It's like a blending, I guess.
Yeah. It's just that it is that not. It is that nothing. No. It is that that knowing is, but I know that it's most probably just your language that says I know, but obviously you couldn't know. But it's language stuff again. I mean, who gives a shit about the language at the end of the day?
Yeah. Into like a remedy, for this
I
seeking.
know. It'd be so nice if there was just a remedy, if I could just give a potion or something. Or we could say, if you go and meditate for 20 hours a week, or if you go and live in a monastery or eat no sugar, in a way that would feel easier in the moment to be told something in which you could do, rather than just being left in free fall with this energy that wants to move somewhere but's got nowhere to go. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think I bought this is about another different thing, but I don't know. I am happy to talk about you and share with you your perspective. I guess I'm buying a crystal for myself on Christmas.
You buying a what?
Crystal.
A crystal. Yeah.
Yeah, a smoky quartz.
Yeah.
I really like crystals, and I really like the energy that I feel, in connection with these crystals.
Yeah.
It gets me, a little bit high in the crystals.
Yeah.
In that dreamy sensation, dreamy.
Yeah.
This morning, when I woke up, I heard a voice in my head, really clear, that said, like, quiet, something like that. It was like in an evil way. I guess it was like negative, I guess. But I have my guides, and it was like a really nice experience. I don't know if that has to do with letting go of the seeking thing. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying right now.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying either. It just comes out.
Okay, well,
I really don't know the way to this. Neither will you or anybody else. But sometimes the mind might come up and say, this voice, this guide, or this crystal is leading me somewhere. But that's just a thought. But there's nothing wrong.
It's
There's
inside the
nothing.
whole creation of energy that I seemingly create. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't
It's
know.
part of the energy creation that I create, something like that.
I don't know what that
So
means.
if I just stay in the now and I quiet my mind, I will feel to be here, and then that's it. I don't even know.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy because how do you even quiet the mind? I mean, it's a nice word. It's nice words to say, if I quiet my mind. But how does that even happen? How do you even feel the energy of the crystal? It's all so confusing, all of it. But somewhere in that confusion, there's so sweet. It's a complete intimacy. But it's not saying that the crystal's wrong, the meditation's wrong, the voice is wrong. It's just coming back to that simple question mark. So everything's free again. Because when everything's a question mark, there's no adamance, there's no adamant, I am right, they are wrong, I know this. There's no conflict anymore. There's just what's happening. But all of it's a gift. The crystal, the taking out the garbage, the voice quiet, the voice loud, whatever it is. But I don't know what's going on. I don't know how it's working. It's mysterious. It's confusing.
It's like I was thinking, like my crystal. It has a big on top. It have like it's beautiful, and then in the end, it have like sand, ground. And I was like, I didn't want to appreciate the ground as well as I appreciate the crystal. And I was like then I appreciate the whole thing.
Yeah, it's got everything in it.
Like the thing that's bigger than us.
Yeah. Everything you ever perceive has got everything in it.
So what?
Everything that you perceive, or not even you perceive, but everything that appears has got everything in it. So when you see that crystal, it's got everything. The ground, the sky, the water. Everything.
But like the now is the most the thing that everything is pointing to.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. It's not quite the now. I wouldn't use that word. I mean, if you're happy with that word, you could say the now. But everything is pointing to what's actually happening. The freedom is in what's happening. The dream is to get out of what's happening, but the freedom's in what's happening. Always.
Exactly, and that was what I did with my crystal. You know, the dream is to what to get out of what's happening, and that's like the crystal, the thing on top, and then the ground is like what's happening. I don't know, and then it's like there's like bigger and smaller.
Yeah.
I don't. But everything is in conjunction.
Yep, and everything, the whole world is screaming this, what is, what is. It's in the experiencing of what is, rather than the dream of something better or getting away from what is.
What is. So that's so nice about what is.
Yeah, it's really beautiful because the love affair's here. It's never needs to be got. The love affair is if you're in prison, it's in prison. If you're sitting with your parents having a Christmas dinner, it's in the Christmas dinner, whatever's happening. It's not in these romantic dreams.
How do you feel about what is?
Sorry?
How do you feel about what is?
I don't really feel about what is anymore. What happened is everything began to crumble, and then there was just what is left. Just what's happening. And so the attachment to being things died. Huh?
You don't have emotions.
Emotions appear, but they don't belong to me in a story anymore. They're just appearing in what is as part of what is, in the same way in which the light appears, or the sounds appear, or the ground appears, or the table appears. So emotions now appear freely. They don't belong to something in time.
And are you afraid of
Fear can arise, but again, it's not belonging to somebody in a linear timeline, which sounds odd. They're just not. They're not sucked into this energy of me or mine. But yeah, fear and pain arises for sure. It hurts if the body gets cut. It even hurts seeing other bodies get cut as well. And other bodies hurting. So pain still arises, but the freedom is it's no longer happening to me, and I've not got to make it pleasurable. I've not got to make it better. It is as it is.
Don't you feel like you need to control something in order to everything be okay?
No, that energy of someone looking at themselves in linear time has dissolved. So it just is happening.
How are you sure that everything is going to be okay?
It's not going to be okay. Everything's going to die. It doesn't end well.
Okay. Thinking, I guess.
Yeah. But it's not going to be okay. This body's going to die. Everybody's going to die. Everything's going to rot.
So you don't prefer pleasure?
Oh yeah, the body moves towards pleasure, but there's no longer that living in time, dreaming about pleasure. The body just naturally moves towards more pleasure than pain, but it's no longer mine, and my happiness is not found in pleasure. My completion is not found in pleasure. Completion is what is, and then pleasure is just pleasure. It's confusing, all the words of this, and this body-mind mechanism's got a certain way of expressing it, and maybe sounds sometimes a bit confusing, but basically it's really a simple message. It's just pointing back to what's happening.
There is something sweet about being here.
Oh yeah, this is where all the sweetness is. But it's not you being here. It's impossible for somebody in a thought to be here. It's where the thoughts come from. And that place is absolute stillness, absolute emptiness.
And there's a sweetness there.
Oh yeah, it's really sweet. It's really sweet. It's love, in fact. Everything's arising from love. but not quite as an emotion.
Okay, I guess I don't have anything else to say.
Oh, that was lovely talking to you. What's your name again? I'm sorry I ask you this every time.
Tony. You gotta call me Tony.
Tony. Okay, Tony. Tony works. That's nice in English.
Sorry?
That's easy for the English, Tony.
Yeah. I was scared I was going to say something like some of my friends do, you know, but I actually invent like a little name, you know, something short.
Yeah.
Like maybe Yash. Yash. All right, okay, that's enough.
Thank you. Bye. That was sweet.